The emergency lights of Research Station Prometheus cast eerie red shadows across the maintenance corridor as Captain Marcus Reed conducted his evening security patrol. His boots echoed against the metal flooring, a rhythmic sound that had become as familiar as his own heartbeat during his 3 years aboard the station. 32, Marcus had seen his share of strange occurrences in deep space, but nothing had prepared him for what he was about to discover. A soft thud echoed from the storage bay ahead, followed by what sounded like labored breathing. Marcus drew his plasma pistol and approached cautiously, his military training taking over. The door to Bay 7 stood slightly ajar, and through the gap he could see a figure collapsed on the floor. Marcus pushed the door open slowly, weapon raised, and froze at the sight before him. A woman lay crumpled against a supply crate, her pale blue skin gleaming with perspiration despite the cool temperature of the bay. Long silver hair fell across her face like liquid mercury. Her clothing appeared to be some kind of form-fitting tactical suit in deep purple that seemed to shift colors in the light. But it was her ears that gave her away as non-human, pointed, and elegant, along with the 2 small puncture marks visible just below her jaw. This was Selena Vex, the infamous alien bounty hunter whose reputation preceded her across 3 solar systems. She was known for her ruthless efficiency and mysterious nature. Belonging to a species that subsisted on the life essence of others, Marcus lowered his weapon as he noticed her shallow, irregular breathing. Whatever had brought the feared huntress to his station, she was clearly in distress. Her silver eyes fluttered open as he approached, and he was struck by their unusual beauty, like liquid starlight trapped in crystal. "Stay back, human," she whispered, her voice carrying an otherworldly musical quality even in her weakened state. "I am dangerous." Marcus knelt beside her, his medical training from his military days taking over. Her skin was cold to the touch, almost ice-like, and he could see the telltale signs of severe dehydration, though he suspected it wasn't water she needed. "When did you last feed?" he asked gently, already knowing the answer from her condition. Selena's eyes widened with surprise at his direct question. Most humans feared her kind, and few would speak so openly about their dietary needs. 5 days, she admitted, her pride warring with her desperate situation. "My supplies were destroyed when pirates attacked my ship. I came here hoping to acquire what I needed, but I underestimated how quickly the hunger would overcome me." Marcus studied her face, noting the sharp cheekbones and the way her skin seemed almost translucent in the dim light. He had heard stories of her people, the Vashti, and their need for blood to survive. Most humans considered them monsters, but looking at Selena now, all he saw was someone in desperate need of help. "You're not going to make it another day without feeding," he stated matter-of-factly, his analytical mind processing the situation. "I know," she replied, closing her eyes as if accepting her fate. "I have lived for 2 centuries. Human, perhaps it is time." Marcus made a decision that would change both their lives forever. He rolled up his sleeve and extended his arm toward her, then feed. Selena's eyes snapped open, shock replacing the resignation that had settled there. "You don't understand what you're offering, my people. ... We don't just take blood. We form connections with those we feed from. It's intimate, binding in ways your kind cannot comprehend." "I understand enough," Marcus replied firmly. "I understand that you're dying and I can help. Everything else we'll figure out as we go." The huntress stared at him for a long moment, searching his face for signs of deception or fear. Finding neither, she slowly reached for his offered arm, her cool fingers wrapping around his wrist. "You may not be the same after this," she warned one final time. Marcus met her gaze steadily. "Neither will you. Blood and trust the..." Medical bay's sterile white walls reflected the soft blue glow of the monitoring equipment as Selena slowly regained consciousness. The feeding had been unlike anything she had experienced before. Human blood was different from the synthetic supplements her people had developed, richer and more complex. Carrying emotions and memories that still echoed in her mind, Marcus sat in a chair beside the medical bed. A fresh bandage wrapped around his forearm. He looked pale but alert, his dark eyes watching her with a mixture of concern and curiosity. Dr. Nina Koren, the station's chief medical officer, bustled around checking various readouts, her expression professionally neutral despite the unusual circumstances. "Your vitals are stable," Dr. Koren reported to Selena, though her tone was cautious. "Whatever Captain Reed did, it worked. Your cellular regeneration levels are off the charts." Selena slowly sat up, testing her strength. The weakness that had nearly killed her was gone, replaced by an energy that seemed to hum through her veins. But more than that, she could sense Marcus in a way that felt both foreign and intimate. His emotions flickered at the edge of her consciousness like distant flames. "You're feeling it too," she said, not quite a question. She could see it in the way his eyes tracked her movements, the slight tension in his shoulders that spoke of hyper-awareness. Marcus nodded slowly. "It's like I can sense your presence even when I'm not looking at you. Sometimes I catch flashes of ... something, emotions that aren't quite my own."
Oh.
Dr. Koren looked between them with scientific fascination. "Remarkable. I've read theoretical papers about Vashti bonding, but never witnessed it firsthand. You've essentially created a psychic link through the blood exchange." Selena swung her legs over the side of the bed, her movements now fluid and graceful rather than the clumsy weakness of before. "Human blood is more potent than anything my people have experienced. Synthetic substitutes we've developed pale in comparison." She looked directly at Marcus. "Your blood carries something we lost long ago when we began relying on artificial means to survive." "What's that?" Marcus asked, though part of him already suspected the answer. "Passion," Selena replied, her silver eyes seeming to glow in the medical bays, lighting, raw, unfiltered emotion. It's intoxicating. The admission hung between them, heavy with implication. Dr. Koren cleared her throat diplomatically. "I should run some additional tests to ensure there are no adverse effects from the exchange." "Later," Marcus said, his voice rougher than usual. "Right now, we need to figure out why Ms. Vex was really here." Selena tilted her head, studying him with new appreciation. She had expected fear or disgust from a human after what they had shared, but instead, she found determination and something that might have been protectiveness. "I was tracking a group of Helix Syndicate operatives," she admitted. "I've been conducting illegal experiments on various species, trying to synthesize the abilities of different alien races. My sources indicated they were planning to hit this research station." Marcus straightened immediately, his military training taking over. "When originally I estimated within 48 hours, but given my delay, they could arrive at any time." Dr. Koren paled. "The Helix Syndicate? Marcus, we need to evacuate the station immediately." "No," Selena said firmly, standing with renewed strength. "They'll have scouts monitoring for any unusual activity. An evacuation would only confirm that we know they're coming. Besides," she looked at Marcus, "I made a deal with the Galactic Council. In exchange for amnesty for my past activities, I eliminate the Syndicate threat." Marcus felt a surge of admiration through their new connection, followed immediately by concern. "You can't take on an entire Syndicate cell alone." Selena's lips curved into a predatory smile. "I'm not alone anymore, am I?" The implications of her words sent a thrill through Marcus that had nothing to do with their psychic bond. He found himself stepping closer to her, drawn by something he couldn't quite name. The scent of her hair, like cold starlight in distant storms, filled his senses. "The bond works both ways," Selena said softly, correctly interpreting his approach. "Can sense my emotions, but I can feel yours as well. Your courage, your protective instincts." "It's quite attractive, Selena," Marcus began, but she placed a cool finger against his lips. "We have a battle coming," she said, though she made no move to step away from him. "But after ... we should explore what this connection means." Dr. Koren's voice broke the charged moment. "Speaking of the battle, if the Helix Syndicate is coming, we need to prepare defenses." Marcus forced himself to focus on the tactical situation, though he remained acutely aware of Selena's presence beside him. "What kind of weapons and personnel are we looking at?" "Strike team of 12, heavily armed and augmented," Selena replied, shifting back into professional mode. "They'll have energy weapons, combat stimulants, and at least 2 individuals with stolen alien abilities." Then we'd better get ready, Marcus said grimly. This is going to be one hell of a fight. The asteroid mining facility Titan's Edge hung in space like a massive metal spider, its drilling arms extending toward the resource-rich rocks surrounding it. Marcus and Selena had tracked the Helix Syndicate operatives here after they bypassed Prometheus Station entirely, apparently changing their target at the last moment. Thermal scanners show 15 life signs inside the main processing center. Marcus reported from their concealed position on a nearby asteroid. His modified scanner equipment was picking up the heat signatures through the facility's hull. Looks like they brought reinforcements. Selena crouched beside him, her enhanced senses providing additional information. I can smell the chemical modifications they've made to their bodies. Combat enhancers, neural boosters, and something else. She paused, her expression growing concerned. They have someone with Vashti abilities. Marcus felt a spike of anger through their bond, though. He wasn't sure if it was his own or hers. The idea of the Syndicate stealing and perverting her people's gifts revolted him. How is that possible? There are ways to transfer biological capabilities temporarily, Selena explained, her voice tight with disgust, usually involving the torture and eventual death of the donor. If they have someone with my people's strength and feeding abilities, ... then we're going to stop them, Marcus finished firmly. He checked his weapons one final time, ensuring his plasma rifle was fully charged and his sidearm secure. What's the plan? Selena's silver eyes gleamed with predatory anticipation. We hunt. They moved through the facility's maintenance tunnels with fluid coordination, their psychic bond allowing them to communicate without words. Marcus found himself anticipating Selena's movements, while she seemed to instinctively know when to cover his blind spots. It was as if they had been fighting together for years rather than days. The first group of Syndicate operatives never saw them coming. Selena moved with inhuman speed and grace, her enhanced strength allowing her to incapacitate enemies before they could raise an alarm. Marcus provided covering fire and tactical support, his military experience complementing her natural hunting instincts perfectly. Processing center is just ahead, Marcus whispered as they paused at an intersection. Through their bond, he could sense Selena's growing excitement at the prospect of confronting their enemies. The one with stolen Vashti abilities is in there, she confirmed. I can feel the corruption of the gift. It's nauseating. They burst into the processing center, together, moving as one unit. The Syndicate operatives were waiting for them, having detected their approach through the facility's security systems. But they hadn't expected the level of coordination between a human and Vashti working in perfect harmony. Marcus laid down suppressing fire while Selena flanked their opponents, her movements a blur of lethal efficiency. The operative with stolen Vashti abilities stepped forward to meet her challenge. His movements unnaturally jerky as the foreign powers fought against his human physiology. Abomination, Selena hissed as she engaged him in close combat. The fight was brutal and swift. The operative's stolen abilities made him strong and fast, but they were artificial, lacking the elegant control that came from a lifetime of natural development. Selena moved around his attacks like liquid silver, striking with precision at pressure points that only her people knew. Marcus found himself watching her with fascination, even as he fought his own battles. The way she moved was like a deadly dance, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. When she finally brought down the enhanced operative, he felt a surge of admiration and something deeper through their bond. Behind you, Selena shouted, and Marcus spun to find another operative attempting to flank him. Without thinking, she threw herself between them, taking a plasma bolt that had been meant for him. The energy beam seared across her shoulder, spinning her around and sending her crashing into a control console. Marcus roared with fury, a sound that surprised him with its intensity, and eliminated the remaining threats with ruthless efficiency. He rushed to Selena's side, finding her conscious but injured. The plasma burn had damaged her tactical suit and left an angry red mark across her pale blue skin. "Why did you do that?" demanded, though his hands were gentle as he examined her wound. "Because," Selena said, wincing as she tried to sit up. "The thought of losing you was unacceptable? The bond? It's made me protective of you in ways I've never experienced?" Marcus felt his heart racing as he helped her to her feet. The admission hung between them, raw and honest. Around them, the facility's emergency systems were shutting down damaged equipment, leaving them in semi-darkness broken only by the glow of warning lights. Selina Marcus began, but she silenced him with a look. "We're not finished here," she said, though her silver eyes held promises for later. "There are still syndicate members unaccounted for, and they have data we need to recover." Marcus nodded, forcing himself to focus on the mission despite the emotional turbulence their bond was creating. "Then let's finish this." As they moved deeper into the facility, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that their relationship had crossed another threshold. The professional partnership was evolving into something deeper, more dangerous, and infinitely more precious. The abandoned freight hauler Nebula's dream drifted silent and dark against the backdrop of stars, its hull scarred by years of hard use and recent battle damage. Marcus and Selina had taken refuge aboard the derelict vessel when a massive solar storm made space travel impossible, forcing them to wait out the electromagnetic interference that would last at least 12 hours. "Emergency power is holding," Marcus reported, as he finished his inspection of the ship's basic systems. "Life support is stable, and the hull is intact. We should be comfortable enough until the storm passes." Selina stood at one of the observation ports, watching the brilliant aurora-like displays as the solar wind interacted with the ship's magnetic shielding. The lights painted her silver hair in shades of blue and gold, and Marcus found himself studying her profile with growing appreciation. "It's beautiful," she murmured, seemingly unaware of his attention. "On my home world we have similar phenomena, but they're much more violent. They say when the sky bleeds fire, warrior souls are being tested." Marcus joined her at the viewport, standing close enough to feel the subtle coolness that seemed to radiate from her skin. "Is that what this is? A test?" Selina turned to look at him, her silver eyes reflecting the storm's light. "Perhaps. We've been through combat together, shared blood, and formed a bond that neither of us fully understands. But we haven't acknowledged what's growing between us." The admission hung in the air between them, heavy with implication. Marcus could feel her emotions through their psychic connection and certainty mixed with desire, curiosity warring with caution. His own feelings were equally complex, drawn to her in ways that went beyond their supernatural bond. "On Earth, we have a saying," Marcus said softly. "Fortune favors the bold." He reached up to trace the curve of her pointed ear, marveling at its alien elegance. "I've never felt anything like what I feel with you." Selina leaned into his touch, her eyes closing briefly. "My people don't form casual attachments, Marcus. When we bond with someone, it's intense, all-consuming. Are you prepared for that level of connection?" Instead of answering with words, Marcus cupped her face in his hands and kissed her. The first contact was electric, sending shockwaves through their shared bond that amplified every sensation. Selina's lips were cool, but warmed under his touch, and he could taste something uniquely alien and intoxicating. When they broke apart, both were breathing heavily. Selina's eyes had darkened to the color of storm clouds, and Marcus could feel her heart racing despite her normally cool physiology. "That was—" she began, but Marcus silenced her with another kiss. Deeper and more passionate than the first, their bodies pressed together as the kiss intensified. Human warmth meeting alien coolness in perfect contrast. Marcus ran his hands through Selina's silver hair, marveling at its silky texture, while she traced the strong lines of his shoulders through his tactical vest. "We should stop," Selina whispered against his lips, though she made no move to pull away. "This changes everything between us." "It already changed the moment you fed for me," Marcus replied, his voice rough with desire. "I can feel what you feel, Selina. I know you want this as much as I do." She pulled back to study his face, searching for any sign of doubt or fear. Finding neither, she began to unfasten his tactical vest with deliberate slowness. "Then let me show you how Vashti expressed passion." The storm raged outside as they discovered each other with growing urgency. Marcus marveled at the contrast between Selina's cool skin and the fire that burned in her silver eyes. She was strong enough to break him without effort, yet her touch was gentle, almost reverent. She explored his human form. Their lovemaking was a dance of opposing natures, her alien grace and his human passion, her supernatural strength and his tender vulnerability. The psychic bond between them amplified every touch, every sensation, until they were lost in each other completely. Afterward, they lay entwined on the makeshift bed Marcus had created from emergency supplies, watching the storm's light play across the bulkheads. Selena's head rested on his chest, her silver hair spread across his skin like liquid mercury. "I can feel your heartbeat through the bond now," she murmured, tracing patterns on his chest with her fingertips. "It's steady, strong, very human." Stroked her hair, marveling at how natural it felt to hold her. "What happens now? Between us, I mean?" "Now we face whatever comes together," Selena replied, lifting her head to meet his gaze. "The Vashti mate for life, Marcus. What we've shared tonight, there's no going back from it." Before Marcus could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the ship. Emergency lights bathed them in red as the vessel's automated systems detected incoming threats. Multiple vessels on approach vector, the ship's computer announced in a flat, mechanical voice, "Hull integrity compromised." Marcus and Selena were on their feet instantly, reaching for weapons and clothing with practiced efficiency. Through the viewport, they could see the dark shapes of Syndicate attack craft closing in, their running lights cutting through the storm like predatory eyes. "They tracked us," Marcus said grimly as he checked his weapons charge. Selena's expression had shifted back to the predatory huntress he'd first met, though her silver eyes held new depths of emotion when they looked at him. "Then we make them regret it." As they prepared for battle, Marcus realized that their intimate encounter had done more than satisfy their mutual attraction. It had forged them into something greater than the sum of their parts. Partnership that transcended species and would be tested by blood and fire. The enemy's stronghold on Kepler 442 rose from the barren landscape like a metallic cancer, its twisted spires and defensive towers housing the last remnants of the Helix Syndicate's operation. Marcus and Selena crouched behind a rocky outcrop, studying the fortification that held the key to ending the Syndicate's reign of terror across 3 star systems. 37 hostiles confirmed, Marcus reported, lowering his enhanced scope. Heavy weapons, energy shields, and at least 6 individuals showing signs of biological enhancement. Selena's silver eyes reflected the planet's dual sunset as she assessed their target. The facility's core houses their research data and the synthetic enhancement laboratory. Destroy that, and we cripple their ability to create more abominations. Through their psychic bond, Marcus could feel her determination mixed with something deeper, need for justice for her people and all the other species the Syndicate had victimized. The connection between them had grown stronger in the days. Since their intimate encounter, allowing them to coordinate with supernatural precision. "Direct assault is suicide," Marcus observed, though he was already forming tactical plans. "But if we can create a diversion, ... "No," Selena interrupted, her voice carrying the weight of decision. "There's another way, but it requires trust." She turned to face him fully, her expression serious. "The enhancements I gained from your blood, they're temporary, fading. But if I feed again directly before the assault, ... Marcus understood immediately. "You'll be stronger, faster, more dangerous, but also more vulnerable to the bond between us, more protective, more likely to take risks to keep you safe." Her silver eyes searched his face. "Are you willing to let me become that dangerous?" Without hesitation, Marcus rolled up his sleeve. "We've come this far together. I'm not stopping now." The feeding was different this time, charged with the emotional intimacy they had shared. As Selena's fangs pierced his skin, Marcus felt their bond deepen and strengthen. Her silver eyes blazed with new intensity as his life essence flowed into her, enhancing her already formidable abilities. When she pulled away, Selena's entire being seemed to glow with barely contained energy. Her movements were fluid perfection, her senses heightened beyond normal Vashti levels, but Marcus could also feel her fierce protectiveness through their connection. A primal need to keep him safe that went beyond rational thought. "Now we hunt," she said, her voice carrying harmonics that resonated in his bones. Their assault on the stronghold was a masterpiece of coordinated violence. Keys provided precision fire support while Selena became a whirlwind of lethal grace. Moving through the Syndicate's defenses like a force of nature, the enhanced operatives that had seemed so dangerous before fell before her renewed strength, but it was in the facility's core laboratory that they faced their greatest challenge. The Syndicate's leader, Dr. Voss, had used stolen genetic material from dozens of species to transform himself into something barely recognizable as human. Multiple arms, enhanced musculature, and redundant organs made him nearly unstoppable. "The abomination ends here," Selena snarled as she engaged the transformed. "You're scientist in single combat." The battle was fierce and desperate. Even with Marcus's blood enhancing her abilities, Selena found herself gradually being overwhelmed by Voss's stolen powers. Through their bond, Marcus felt every blow she took, every moment of pain and exhaustion. When Voss finally landed a devastating strike that sent Selena crashing into the laboratory's equipment, Marcus made a decision that would define their future. Together, ignoring his own safety, he rushed to her side and offered his neck once more. "Take what you need," he whispered urgently as alarms blared around them. This time, the feeding was desperate and powerful. Marcus felt his strength flowing into Selena even as his vision began to blur. But through their bond, he also felt her love, fierce and eternal, binding them together more completely than any marriage ceremony ever could. Selena rose from the feeding transformed, her silver eyes now blazing with an inner light that seemed to bend reality around her. She moved with such speed and grace that Voss's enhanced reflexes couldn't track her. The battle ended with swift, brutal efficiency. As the facility's self-destruct sequence activated, Marcus and Selena escaped into the barren landscape beyond. Weak from blood loss, but alive, Marcus leaned against her as they watched the stronghold burn. "It's over," Selena said softly, though her enhanced senses were already scanning for any remaining threats. "No," Marcus replied, pulling her close despite his exhaustion. "It's just beginning. For us, I mean." She looked down at him with eyes that held centuries of experience, but were now bright with something new, hope for a future neither had thought possible. "The Vashti have a saying," she murmured against his hair. "Blood calls to blood, heart to heart, soul to soul. You've become part of me, Marcus Reed, and I am part of you." As they waited for extraction under the alien stars, Marcus realized that their bond had transcended species, politics, and the vast darkness of space itself. They were no longer just human and Vashti. They were something new, something unprecedented, something that proved love could indeed conquer the galaxy's darkest corners. The stars above seemed to shine brighter as they held each other, two souls, bound by sacrifice and sealed by blood, facing whatever the universe might bring them together.